Sit like this. Hunch over like a little gremlin, a little iceberg gremlin. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the ultimate childhood trauma iceberg. Let's get into it. But first, I have some explaining to do. And you guys are probably like, you guys probably did not expect to see me today. A lot of you guys may know this, being older, but sometimes life doesn't let you do the things that you want to do. Although I've been wanting to make these videos for you guys, it's been kind of hard to find time for it. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your continued support, honestly. There's been a lot of people that have come and gone and stayed, and some new people showed up as well. So thank you so much. It means a lot. And because you guys have continued to support me this whole time, it's encouraged me to really try and make time to make these videos for you guys. If you can't tell, we're in a little bit of a different setting this time. I don't have a desk anymore. I'm sitting on my floor. You guys are actually on my guitar amp as we speak. Also, if you guys are wondering why I keep looking over here, it's because I'm trying to make sure that everything is working okay, because this is a new microphone. Should not have done this with a new microphone. It sounds good, but you have to keep it really close to your face, which is kind of annoying. Anyways, a big old thank you to you guys, and let's get into what you guys actually came here for. By the way, like I do every other iceberg video, we're going to be going through this by each level of the iceberg. So this one just happens to have like, what, 8? Yeah, just get real zoomed in so I can't see anything. Okay, never mind. It's not 8. Holy ass. Okay, well, we're doing the first one today. When I used to do this and I was a machine at doing icebergs, I would have little bullet points that had like a brief description of a little point that I wanted to talk about, and then I had so much like knowledge from actually researching the topic that I could just go off and be like, okay, so it's about this and this and this. But I wrote this script 3 years ago, and I'm a little bit rusty. So if I'm looking over here, if I'm glancing for like information, I'm sorry. I'm trying my best here. First up on the list, we have 1984, the novel by George Orwell that we all read in high school. This novel centers around the consequences of totalitarianism, mass surveillance, and repressive regimentation of people and behaviors within society. Younger me already made the joke that I made earlier. He said, the novel contains disturbing subjects and imagery, but I think the true childhood trauma comes from the projects we all had to do on this novel in high school. I haven't changed one bit, guys. Next up on this list, we got Baldis Basics, a classic. Baldis Basics in Education and Learning is a parody horror game created by American indie developer Micah McConnell in 2018. I hope I'm saying that right. When I go back and look at my comments from my earlier videos, it's all just people correcting my pronunciation on stuff, and I'm trying my best. It's a lot of words. Like this one, 15 pages long. That is lovely. I'm going to be here for a long time. The objective of this game is to collect notebooks and escape, all while Baldi chases you around the school. This game became fairly popular and mainstream because every single big YouTuber you can think of was playing this game at the time. Baldi progressively gets faster for every notebook you collect, and once all notebooks are collected, you try to make it to the exit before he catches you. If he is able to catch you, the game is over and you have to restart from the beginning, and there's a little jump scare to throw in on the side there. Although the game may appear harmless on a surface level, it was actually quite exhilarating and punishing, which is why it gained such a considerable amount of traction and popularity when it was released. Next up on this list, we have Barbie.avi. Barbie Avi is a story of a man who comes across an old computer in a dumpster. Look, the old computer consists of a 40-minute long video under the file name Barbie.avi. The video depicts a woman that is supposedly suffering from BIID, or body integrity identity disorder, and she is talking and crying about her own skin. The original video consists of 4 parts depicting a 20-year-old amputated girl named Tammy. In the video, she talks about an accident she had with an old washing machine when she was 16, where the spin cycle went off as she rearranged the sheet and it twisted her right arm off. Next up on the list, we got Basement. And no, that's not the name of a game. That's not the name of a scary story we used to read as kids. That's like real-ass basements. And we know the fear with basements. The darkness monster is going to grab our little toes if we don't run up the stairs, Enough said. Next up on the list, we have COVID. We got COVID-19. Now, this is when I made a majority of my videos. This is when I remember, wow, holy. It kind of put school on easy mode for a lot of people. I don't know if I could say the same for me. And also being online, trying to give actually, never mind. I take that back. I was thinking, and I was like, dude, it was so much easier to just do a presentation in person. No, the fuck it wasn't. It was way easier talking to a computer screen where half the people didn't have their cameras on. Like, they ain't paying attention. They're like sleeping in or something. But it was scary. It was scary because there was a lot of uncertainty. Like, nobody knew how serious it was going to end up being. I know it still is a thing right now, and I'm not trying to undermine the the severity of it, but just from how it went so worldwide, I can definitely see why this is on this list, you know? That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that I can relate to it. Okay, next up on the list, we have a Coyote Attack video. All the research that I did on this topic at the time just led to videos of news reporters talking about coyotes stealing infants like off their lawns. I can definitely understand the fear that this could instill in young children, and even more so with the parents, because apparently coyotes aren't scared to traverse populated neighborhoods and steal your kids right off your lawn. Next up on the list, we have creepypastas. A creepypasta is a horror-related legend which has been shared around the internet. These entries are often brief, user-generated paranormal stories intended to scare the reader. Looking back at creepypastas now, there are actually very few that retain the same shock factor that it had when we were kids. I believe the reason for this is because the mind of a child has a tendency to blow things out of proportion, over-exaggerating disturbing imagery, and in turn making it more frightening. Next up on this list is death. What? Dude, that is dark as hell. And I even wrote like a paragraph for this. As adults, we are taught that death is a natural final step of our life cycle. And since we have a generally good grasp of the concept of death and why it happens, it isn't that disturbing of a subject to most people. For kids, on the other hand, it's foreign and unsettling. I actually did a video talking about this next thing coming up. Subliminal messages. I did an entire iceberg on it, and a lot of the ones were part of children's cartoons, like old Disney ones. They would do like straight up murder, unaliving themselves. A lot of that was just straight up normalized in a lot of these old cartoons. So people thought of it as like a joke, or like little kids just became so desensitized to it. And now, although it isn't as prevalent in shows nowadays because of all the regulations and restrictions that come along with children's entertainment, like this is real. And I called it. I didn't even read it. But I like, that's just how like common it is. Maybe it's because my brain is full of like a bunch of garbage because I've went through all of these icebergs, and from little things, no matter how long ago it was, I retain little snippets of it. And I wish I was more up to date on the topic that I'm doing right now. Like, yes, I got it, and like, damn, I write some good ass scripts, but like also I wish I could just have a mental note so that I could go off like this on every single concept. And next up on the list is Disney villains. From a very young age, we are trained to despise any bad guy or villain depicted in the media we are presented. And Disney is probably the most notorious for providing us with memorable and genuine villains which are made for the sole purpose of being nightmare fuel for kids. Goddamn Ursula and her big thick ass. Next up on the list, we got Dizta. Dizta is an animator who created Gmod and TF2 animations that are uncanny and bizarre in nature, to say the least. I remember watching a bunch of these as a kid, and I definitely wouldn't call them trauma-inducing, but I definitely did call them a little bit uncanny at the time. But here I tried to like tie it back to the topic. The unnatural movements and interactions between characters could be disturbing to a kid that doesn't know any better. And I think if you showed it to somebody really young, kids find the weirdest things like disturbing. So like I wouldn't put it past them. Next up on the list, we got one of my favorites. We got Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is a YouTube series that consists of 6 episodes created by Becky Sloan and Joseph Pelling. They might have more. I think they have more. I think I went and I rewatched this video, the whole series, a couple months ago, and I think they have more. Didn't they have it? They also had a TV show as well. Damn. That was like part of my childhood. Like I'm glad they're doing so good. Like they must be doing something right if they got all this stuff, but that thing has really become a YouTube classic. Okay, so there is only 6 mainline episodes, like actually numbered 1 through 6, but there are, they did a couple little one-off things, and they, like I said before, they did have like a little TV show. It might have been on Crave or something. That might be wrong, but they did have a little something going on there. But yeah, I don't want to give misinformation. However, although it may seem harmless at first, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is anything but an ordinary kids show. The episode slowly spirals into something straight out of a nightmare and begins to depict disturbing and unsettling imagery before the episode reaches its climax and abruptly ends. From personal experience, the one that really threw me off was one that was about time. Oh, also the like, don't touch me in the what was it? It was like about computers. Digital style. See, look at this. Either ingrained in my brain, the little worms, the little Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared worms. Didn't they have an episode with a worm in it? Oh my god, they got me. I highly suggest, look at this. Even me from 3 years ago says, I highly suggest you check this series out for yourself if you haven't already. It is fantastic. It's one of the coolest things that I've watched in a really long time. There's like, I think the reason why people like things that are so shocking is because you get such a foreign feeling whenever you watch something that is just straight up unsettling. Like, what makes it so unsettling to you? Or like, what do you find so disturbing? And then how your brain reacts to that and how your body kind of like revolts it as well. Next up on the list, we have demons/monsters from the video game series Doom. Doom is a game franchise created by John Carmack, originally started back in 1993, where you play as a soldier tasked with cleansing the depths of hell of all demons. He's the greatest badass in video game history. Don't at me. And they have the sickest freaking backing track ever. Next up on the list, we have Enna. Enna is an outlandish animated web series on YouTube and Newgrounds created by the animator Joel G from Peru. The episodes center around the main character Enna, a girl with many personalities. Enna is a feminine humanoid creature standing at a supposed height of 9 feet tall. God damn. Step on me. Sorry, if you guys didn't notice, I kind of stumbled over that sentence a little bit, because once I saw the 9 feet, I was like, first of all, why did Past Me include that in there? I know all of you Lady Dimitrescu lovers out there got a little excited when I said that. For a majority of the episodes, she possesses a dual-colored body. Her right side, blue and geometric, and her left side yellow and smooth. Many believe that Enna is supposed to be a depiction and embodiment of a personality disorder, with her constant flip-flopping between moods and emotions. Next up on the list, we got Five Nights at Freddy's, that's where I wanna be. I'm assuming we are all very familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's at this point, after the what seems to be hundreds of mainline games and books put out for this series. But if you don't, I'll give you a quick rundown. Created by the legend himself, Scott Cawthon, in its most basic form before it got all messy and convoluted with sexy chickens, FNaF is a horror survival game where you are a security guard tasked with working the night shift at a pizzeria. Your objective is to survive until 6 a.m., all while haunted animatronics possessed by dead children are out to get your ass. If you are caught, you are jump scared and have to restart the night over. You are forced to retry this until you succeed and move on to the next night. Nights get progressively more difficult leading up to the 6th and final night. And then, of course, there's usually some sort of custom mode associated with the game as well, where you can just max everything out to like 20 and make it super duper difficult. And then if you beat that, you get like some secrets or something. Next up on this list is Friendship is Manly. Friendship is Manly is an animated YouTube series by a creator called Kanashi Panda, and it depicts the ponies from the TV show My Little Pony as buff, half-naked men. Oh yeah, real traumatic. Next up on this list, we have Ghostbusters. We have the original Ghostbusters movie from 1984. I believe the reason why this entry is on this list is because of the creatures from the original Ghostbusters, specifically the little green guy and the Pillsbury Doughboy. Next up on this list, we have Giga Gargantuar. Giga Gargantuars are big enemies that carry around telephone poles and have little minions strapped to their back from the mobile game Plants vs. Zombies. I think these are on this iceberg because they gave us all anger issues as kids from the amount of times we'd have to resist chucking our phones down a flight of stairs after being stuck on the same level for hours. Next up on the list, we have Halloween costumes and Halloween decorations. I think the reason this entry is here is because as kids, we made costume shopping and Halloween itself out to be a lot worse than it actually is. Now we just don't participate and we just shut off our lights so that kids don't come to our doorstep. Last time I got trick-or-treating, I was like 10. I think the reason I put this on here is because this exact thing would happen to me, is that guys would hide in bushes. They would dress up in like a ghillie suit, and then they hide in the front bush, and of course it was so damn dark outside that they just jump out, and then I would just cry for the rest of the night because I was like, what the hell? Why would they do this at my expense? And they wouldn't even feel bad. They would be like, got him so good. Or the other one was like, somebody would sit in the chair, like by the candy bowl or with like the candy bowl on their lap, and then they'd be wearing like a mask and stuff, and you'd go up and you'd hear like their heavy breathing, and then they'd like reach out and try to grab you. And I just ain't dealing with that. Next up on the list is Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killer is a creepypasta about a 13-year-old boy who was brutally disfigured after surviving an attack by a bunch of bullies. He had a mental breakdown and slaughtered them in retribution. The bully attack had left Jeff badly burned, so he carved himself a smile to complement his already disfigured face. Jeff the Killer is one of the internet's earliest and most notable creepypastas, originally released in 2011. Literally the first one that I thought of when we were on the creepypastas topic. And although many of us have become desensitized to the original terror of Jeff the Killer, we still remember its charm and accept the fact that it will undoubtedly cement itself in internet history forever. We got Jolenes Ghost. In the video game Grand Theft Auto 5, the ghost of Jolene Cranley Evans can be found on the cliffs of Mount Gordo between 11 and 12 p.m. Jolene's husband, Jock Cranley, had supposedly pushed Jolene off a cliff to her death while on a walk up the mountain due to the troubles in their marriage. Jock was eventually arrested by the police on suspicion of murder, but was released without charge after the police investigation concluded that Jolene's death was accidental. Now Jolene haunts Mount Gordo and hovers above a rock with Jock's name on it written in blood. Next up on the list, we got Jolly Chimp. Jolly Chimp is a children's toy. Jolly Chimp is that bulbous eyeball ass symbol monkey. First of all, who designed this for a kid? And I didn't have a problem with it until freaking Toy Story 3. Have you guys seen Toy Story 3? That guy is like the main villain in that movie. He's actually so scary. Like some of the suspenseful scenes I remember when I watched it as a kid were actually like gut-wrenching. Like I didn't sleep thinking about that damn monkey. I kind of just went off of my personal memories, but I literally mentioned Toy Story 3 in the list, and I said, who thought it was a good idea to create this abomination for a child? Next up on the list, we got K-Fi commercials. K-Fi was a German coffee-flavored drink company which closed in 2010. They became internationally famous for their advertisements, which contained screamers in order to stimulate the effect of their product on the consumers. It's the commercials where there's like the peaceful music and the car coming around the hillside. Look at the beautiful scenery. And then out of nowhere, this scary ass guy just pops out of the bottom right corner. I guess because of their marketing, they said that was supposed to stimulate the same feeling that their coffee drink would give you, but it couldn't have been that great because they closed down in 2010. I'm sorry. I take it back. I'm not starting fights with German people. We know how that went in the past. Next up on the list, we got Luigis Mansion beta game over. This is exactly what it sounds like. In the beta of the original Luigi's Mansion game, the game over screen was different from the one that released in the complete version of the game. Many speculate this is because the beta game over screen was too scary for the audience they were trying to sell to. Next up on this list, we have Luigi's Mansion franchise, right after the game over beta screen. Luigi's Mansion is an action-adventure game developed and published by Nintendo in 2001. In the game, players are tasked with controlling Luigi as he explores a haunted mansion while searching for Mario and dealing with ghosts along the way. I believe the reason this entry is on this iceberg is because even though this is a Nintendo game made for kids, it definitely has a spookier atmosphere and undertone in comparison to the other kids' games. Next up on this list, we have Mad Piano. The Mad Piano is an enemy in Super Mario 64 and its remake, Super Mario 64 DS, that only appears in one of the rooms in the mansion in a level called Big Boo's Haunt. Its appearance is of a popular depiction of a grand piano, but with sharp teeth under its lid and a mouth-like red interior. It's kind of like if your run-of-the-mill mimic decided to spice things up a little bit and pretended to be a piano instead of a chest. Next up on the list, we have Minecraft Horror Movie. Minecraft Horror Movie is a video released on a YouTube channel called Mindcrafted in 2012. The video consists of Steve going on vacation to a getaway home in the middle of the woods where he is then chased by Herobrine while heavy breathing sound effects are played over the video. I remember I watched this as research for the video, and it was just like it's just kind of cringy, but like I mean as a kid, you know, Herobrine, he was the big bad. I would watch the horror videos of like Herobrine coming to life, which was obviously just one of their friends you get with like the name tag Herobrine. in creative mode with a Herobrine skin just like flying around and chasing them. And I'm like, this guy is so damn real, because I didn't play multiplayer. I didn't know how to do that, because actually like low-key setting up a Minecraft server is hard as hell. I remember I was like, this guy is so terrifying, and they would always do the stupid little diamond blocks around gold blocks and like the netherrack on top, and then if you got lightning to strike it, then Herobrine would like arise from like the depths. So like as a kid, I made like 20 of those little pyramid things, and then I just waited for lightning to start, and then when it struck one, I was like, Herobrine's gonna come. And if he didn't come, he did not enter my game. But I was like, now everything's cursed and I can't play this file anymore, so I gotta delete it. Next up on this list, we have Minecraft mobs. This one is pretty self-explanatory, I think. Creeper go boom, you just made a house. It took you a long ass time. It may be ugly as hell. It may be the ugliest house you may have ever seen, but it was pretty to you. It was like a mama loving an ugly ass kid. She was like, damn, he's so handsome. He probably gets all the girls. Granny hyping you up, even though you ain't got it like that. Where was I going with this? Whenever a creeper would destroy that, you know, your little cute ugly son. Next up on this list, we have Missing No. Missing No is an unofficial Pokemon species found in the video games Pokemon Red and Blue. Due to the programming of certain in-game events, players can encounter Missing No via a glitch. They can do this by watching the old man's Pokemon catching demonstration in Viridian City, the one that we all wish had a skip button on it, because I don't need to know how to catch a goddamn Caterpie, and then flying to Cinnabar Island and surfing along the eastern coastline. By doing this, you will then encounter Missing No, which is just a block of pixels. And if you catch Missing No, you'll just break your game. Next up on this list, we have another current one. We got Poppy Playtime. Poppy Playtime is a horror video game developed and published by American indie developer Mob Entertainment, and initially released in October of 2021. The player takes the role of a former employee of toy-making company Playtime Co., who revisits its abandoned toy factory 10 years after its staff's disappearance. The game was extremely well received and has amassed a very large fan base that continues to grow with the release of 2 new chapters, as well as a whole second phase that is set to release sometime in the near future. That might have already released. I don't know. Next up on this list, we have Regular Show. Regular Show is an American animated sitcom by J.G. Quintel. It ran from September 6th, 2010 to January 16th, 2017 over the course of 8 seasons and 261 episodes. The series follows the lives of 2 23-year-old friends, Mordecai and Rigby, who work at a local park as groundskeepers and spend their days slacking off and avoiding to work to entertain themselves by any means. Now, although the show was made for Cartoon Network, which mainly aired to kids, the show did contain some crude humor that definitely wasn't appropriate for a younger audience. Next up on this list, we got Roblox, baby. Roblox Area 51. Area 51 is a survival game available on Roblox where players are tasked with fending off the killers and making their way through a wider range of different locations. Now I know Roblox has kind of become like a game engine for starting up developers to make like actually pretty cool games, but like the fact that Roblox is just on here is just kind of throwing me off a little bit. The killers include characters such as Chucky, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface, Slenderman, and Michael Myers, just to name a few of them. The game was initially released in October of 2015, but is still active to this day and is one of the most played Roblox games of all time. Next up on this list, we have Sabrina from Pokemon. Sabrina is a character from the games Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. Sabrina is the leader of the Saffron City Gym in the Kanto region, who uses mainly Psychic-type Pokemon and gives the Marsh Badge to trainers that are able to defeat her. She also plays a significant role in the anime, where she has a creepy little psychic doll, which is definitely giving some kids some nightmares. Okay, next up on this list, we have Scary Friday Night Funkin' mods. Friday Night Funkin' is a musical rhythm game where you compete in a freestyle music battle with gameplay similar to that of Dance Dance Revolution, minus the sick dance floor buttons. Yeah, I know, you're just playing on a controller and you don't actually get to throw down. However, the reason why this game is on this list is because you can add visually disturbing and gruesome mods to ramp up the intensity and fear factor of the game. Next up on this list, we have Scary Maze Game. The Scary Maze Game is a game where you have to guide a ball through a maze without touching the walls of the maze. If you do, then the game is over and you have to restart the level. The catch is that if you make it to the end of the maze, the game jump scares you instead of rewarding your ass. So parents thought it would be a good idea to, slip the uncle a couple, like a 20 under the table and say, you know what would be a great idea? Let's put the game right on like the center TV in the middle with all the family members, and let's have like one of our little gullible children play the game in front of everybody. A lot of times what they would do is they would record somebody else doing it. So even if the kid had like bad coordination and like sucked at it and couldn't actually do it, the video would just be doing it, and then the kid would be like, oh, look at me, I'm doing so good, trying to do that. And then it would get to the end, and then it would just like scare them and they would cry. And it's kind of funny to watch kids cry, but like also like it was kind of mean. And we were the victims, so that's why this is here. Next up on this list is School. Okay, this one's a little bit too real. I think this is the scariest one on the list. We're just gonna take that one. We're gonna make a mental note that it was here because we all agree, and we're just gonna move right past it. Next up on the list, we have SpongeBob close-up / detailed shots. This is like during SpongeBob, whenever there was like a really traumatic scene or like a lot of tension or something, you'd like zoom in on SpongeBob's like realistic ass pores, and you'd see like his sweat like dripping inside of his little sponge holes and stuff. And I think that was a little bit just too much for us as kids, but I think that's why this is here. Next up on the list, we have Teletubbies. Teletubbies is a British children's television series created by Anne Wood and Andrew Davenport for the British Broadcasting Corporation that ran from 1997 to 2018. I mean, what's not to hate about this show? The main cast is a bunch of alien creatures with TVs built into their stomach, and they are actually legitimately 7 feet tall. Like the costumes that they wear. I think the actors are also extremely tall as well. But for them to fit the scene properly, they had to get super tall people. So whenever you look at like pictures or videos of like background scenes, or extra takes of stuff for the Teletubbies, there'd have been like massive Teletubbies around. Next up on this list, we have The Night Before Christmas. The Night Before Christmas is a 1993 American stop-motion animated musical film directed by Henry Selick and produced by the boy, Tim Burton. It tells the story of Jack Skellington, the king of Halloween Town, who stumbles upon Christmas Town and schemes to take over the holiday. Now, even though the film was marketed to people of all ages, it does contain some imagery young children may find disturbing. So I can see why this has a spot on the iceberg. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys sticking around for as long as you have. Thank you for being patient with me. I really love making these videos for you guys. I really do. And sometimes everybody knows this. Everybody knows that sometimes life just doesn't give you the time and the opportunity to do the things that you love as much as you want to do them. And I'm really going to try and make time and stay as consistent as possible with this. When I first started, I really pushed myself, trying to put out as much as possible. And like I said, I would try to do like an entire thing in a day. Like I would try to do a script and a recording in a day. And like I said, that can be like 8 hours of scripting, 2 hours of recording. And then by that point, I just want to like die because I'm like, oh my God. And then you have to edit the whole thing through. And of course, I'm so tedious whenever I go through that stuff because I want it to be great. I want it to be great for you guys, and you guys deserve the best. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you don't mind the scuff setup. You know what? For being on the floor, it actually looks pretty rad. I didn't get these rad little. I got some rad display pieces that I would like to throw into the next video, but those can wait. Because there definitely will be a next video, and I will not fall off the face of the planet again.